Hey everybody, it's Jason Pellegro. Welcome to the Horror Slash Show. Thanks for joining us on the road to Halloween. And what could be better than to have an episode dedicated to the greatest horror publication there is, Fangoria. That's right. We've got editor-in-chief on the show, Phil Nobile Jr., as well as website editor, Angel Melanson, and Sean Abley, a long-time contract writer for Fangoria magazine. How's it going, Phil Nobile Jr.?
It's going well. How are you, man?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here on our special Fangoria episode. So, just to get into it, I mean, I've been collecting for a long time. I got some magazines here now. Unfortunately, you know, when you're collecting as a kid, they don't stay in the condition that you want.
Don't I know it?
But I do have a few cool ones here that I'm gonna show off during the.
This is how everybody secretly tells their age, though.
Yeah, I know.
Like you're gonna hold it up, and it's like I was 12 this month.
Yeah, I know.
Or
I hear you.
Into it. It's your entry point. Everybody's got one, and you know, Fango's been going 42 years, so you know it crosses a few generations now. So it's always exciting to see where people jumped in.
Exactly. No, and it's true. And it's funny that you mentioned that because that did cross my mind. I'm like, okay, but if I say my age here, I'm busted. But I think I've been busted on this show already. And I played the old man role a little bit. So
well, I'm here to unseat you.
Are you? Oh, come on. You don't look that old at all. We're not that old. Let's face it. But
we're eating better than our parents and we're taking better care of ourselves. But you know.
Yeah.
Some days you feel it.
Exactly. All right. So, editor-in-chief of Fangoria magazine. I got a bunch of questions for you, obviously, but let's start off with what does the role of editor-in-chief of Fangoria magazine mean? What do you do?
What do I do? I put together the magazine, and I was fortunate enough to have an opportunity to sort of reinvent the magazine because it had run aground when I came on board, and a new owner bought it, asked me, what would you do with Fango? And I sort of presented them with a pitch because I think it's a weird thing to think about in terms of like, what do you do with a magazine in 2018 at the time, right?
Yeah.
There had been so many other great magazines that had kind of picked up the mantle and are on the shelves already, kind of doing, picking up where Fango left off. So it wasn't really, to me, there was no percentage in recreating the magazine of my youth or of your youth or of someone else's youth. We had to kind of come up with something new. So, broadly speaking, what my role is deciding what the magazine is, right?
Yeah.
And I've said this before, but what that means is I wake up every day to decide what it is, and it's a work in progress, and we're always shifting it around and trying new things, and I kind of like that about it. I like that we didn't land on a formula and are just doing the same thing 4 times a year. It's very much a work in progress, and it evolves and it changes, and as we bring in new blood and new voices, it's kind of becoming its own new thing, which I'm excited about. But yeah, so originally it was, what would you do with Fango? And I said, well, make it collectible, make it feel as special as it did to us when we were 12 years old. And what that means is maybe not coming out every month. Maybe that means coming out 4 times a year, making it a little more of an event. Making it feel like something you want to have in your hands and collect, which means maybe not printing a black and white and glossy newsprint and saddle stitch. Maybe it means perfect spine, which is what we've ended up going with, because it has to be something collectible in our digital age, right?
Yeah.
And there's the whole vinyl model. People collect records again, which blows my mind. But so we leaned into that a little bit, leaned into the analog nature of it and making it a collectible, making it something that's a little higher quality. And that was the model, and that's the one we're going with for, it's going to be 4 years soon.
Okay, so how did you get the role though? I mean, it sounds like you kind of pitched for it, but like, did you know who bought it, or like, how does one step into the role of editor-in-chief of Fangoria?
Yeah, so I was primarily a producer of television programs, of nonfiction television, everything from game shows to home improvement shows to true crime. And that was my bread and butter. That was my day job. But that's only because, once I grew up as a Fango reading kid, I realized it was hard to break into filmmaking, and I was able to put those skills into another space. But I always loved movies, and I knew early on that I loved writing about movies more than I loved the idea of making movies. I found that out the hard way in the 90s. But so I was just writing about movies. Sometimes it would be on my MySpace page, or sometimes and then it would be on my Facebook page, and then it would be on forums. And eventually I got hired to write for a website that came to be known as Birth Movies Death. And I was just writing, like, I really had carte blanche on that site. I wrote about whatever I wanted to, which covered horror, but it covered all kinds of other films too. And I covered some films by a producer who had, in early 2018, decided to buy Fangoria because he wanted to make horror films under that label. And he knew of my writing because I had written about his films.
Oh, okay.
And I'd written, it probably didn't hurt that I wrote very flatteringly about his films.
Yeah.
I gave good reviews to his movies because I thought they were really interesting and different. And so that's how that person came to know my writing.
Okay.
And then I assume reached out to a lot of other people too. But yeah, it just worked out. The timing worked out. My pitch took, it made sense to him, and we were off and running.
That's awesome. That's cool. Okay, so I'm going to run down a little bit of a timeline of Fangoria, and I'll let you elaborate on certain things. But the magazine started in 1979.
Yep.
It was a little bit of a rough start in the beginning. It must have shocked a lot of people, but it wasn't what it became. However, in comes the 80s and horror, and right place, right time, and the magazine just exploded in the 80s. I think they were up to 10 episodes a year, or 10 episodes, 10.
I do that all the time, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
I still call it the next episode. And I'm like, no, it's an issue.
Yeah. So 10 issues a year. We're a lot alike. I think time frame and everything. We're kind of and same thing when you hit that note about working on films and stuff like that. I hear you. Anyway, so the 80s really helped usher it along. It was at 10 issues a year, and that was where I was finding my subscription at one point. Then 2000 and I guess 10 was when, or around that time was where, a digital was just taking over, and I think the magazine was kind of slowing down. But around 2017 was where it was just laying there. It was like a KO'd boxer on the floor. Talk about that, as well as then 2018 with the new ownership, how that came about.
Sure. So the caveat is that I wasn't around for any of that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I had to play catch up in 2018 when I got hired, but even go back to your original point, first of all, about how it wasn't what it was. It wasn't even called Fangoria. Like, if you looked in Starlog in 1979, you saw an ad for a new magazine of like fantasy and horror genre, and it was Fantastica.
Fantastica, that's right. Yes.
Fantastic. I'm still trying to get them to make the Fantastica t-shirt, but they haven't done it yet.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But another magazine, and I believe it might have been Fantastic Films, threatened legal action. There was a scramble, and then the next issue of Starlog, it's the same exact ad and the same font, but it's called Fangoria, and it's not even a particularly horror font or anything. It's very sort of like fantasy looking, and and that's the one that's on the very first issue. That logo has never been recreated in another issue of the magazine. But yeah, it covered, like, those first issues had like Thundar the Barbarian in it, and Doctor Who. Issue 6 has Empire Strikes Back on the cover. I think issue 4 or maybe 3 has Spock on there.
Really?
But the seeds are from the first issue of there's an article about Savini's effects from Dawn of the Dead in issue 1. Somebody on the publishing side noticed that that's the one that got all the mail, and everybody was responding to that. So they started to lean into that. And by issue 9, which is the Motel Hell cover, they were off to the races. And they knew what their bread and butter was, and leaned into it. And yeah, the 80s certainly was a golden age for that stuff. And it was great because this is the part that I really feel is that it seemed that no studio gave a single crap about spoiling anything. So you would have just like the end of a movie on the cover of Fangoria, and it was fine. And now it's like, here's 3 people staring off at something. Can we have the cover, please? No, you cannot. So the 80s was, and the 80s, I just like to give a credit to Bob Martin, who was the editor in the 80s, and he was a very irreverent voice, and he's the voice that I sort of have in my head all the time when I'm thinking about the magazine. He loved horror, but he didn't have horror tattoos. He wasn't like some dyed-in-the-wool gorehound. He covered it with a sort of I like to think of it as like this sort of like cross between Hunter S. Thompson and Bill Murray. He had this sort of cynicism, but like he was like your cool uncle, and they called him Uncle Bob. I loved his voice in the magazine, and when he left to go publish Rock Video magazine, really not a long game he was playing there. But so as Tony Timpone took over, and as the 90s happened, the magazine got very comfortable with studios, and that's when you got Jurassic Park on the cover and Addams Family, and it became a lot more studio friendly. But those 80s magazines are like just the punk rock version, and that's always going to be my favorite. But yeah, so as the 2000s rolled around and the internet became a thing to compete with, the magazine did struggle, as I think every print magazine did. And what I think is kind of cool and special about that is that Chris Alexander, who took it over, I don't know the exact year, sorry, Chris, if you're listening, but to 2008, 2009, I think Chris took it over. He leaned into more of like a hardcore fan kind of energy with it, like real curated, real niche.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to like go for mass appeal, because that's the internet was doing that.
It was done at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. So Chris had a real uphill battle with that stuff. And I think he did a pretty cool job of making the magazine something that had a presence and a voice and an identity in an age where those things are being wiped off the face of the earth.
That was a smart tactic, actually.
Yeah.
I like that.
He was the guy to do it. He really knows stuff. He's like a real hardcore horror fan, and just, he made it work. And he doesn't get enough credit for that, I think. But the internet was a losing battle at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he also had some publisher problems, and I think he had some not an editorial issue, but a logistical publisher issue of not being able to get the magazine onto the shelves, and then trying to split the difference by selling digital subscriptions. And people were confused and angry about that. And by 2016, they experimented with a digital only model, but it just wasn't, and they still weren't delivering because of just, I think, internal problems. It wasn't the creative team's situation at all. They were just Sisyphus, just trying to roll that rock up the hill, and it wasn't happening. The advantage of it being bought in 2018 was that it was bought by someone who was a film producer and had capital to play that long game a little bit. And so the idea of making it a kind of pricier, more collectible iteration worked for that model. And we've just been tweaking it ever since. We actually changed owners last year. We have a new set of owners who are also film producers, and they have made cool strides in getting us back into stores. Once they took over, we were back in Barnes and Noble, which I think is huge. I had a hard time explaining to previous regimes that, there's a ceiling to Twitter. I can tell my 200,000 Twitter followers on Fango that, hey, we're back and we're in print. And still, every time I went to a convention, somebody had no idea we were back.
Yeah.
There was somebody who was just like, whoa, Fango's back? And then they didn't understand the model. But when you put it in their hands, when you put that issue in their hands, it suddenly makes a lot more sense to them.
Yeah.
It's 4 issues a year, and it's 100 pages each issue. So the page count is similar to if we were doing 6 issues or even 8 issues. Yeah. It's just making it more of a milestone, making it a seasonal event, I think, is just sort of just more exciting to me.
Yeah, exciting, and I just think it makes sense in this day and age. I do feel, and I mean, you would be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but like, whereas in the beginning where it just everything went digital and like, magazines were just like whatever. Do you find like there's a little bit more harmony between the two, like they work together a little bit better now for print, or do you find it really still a struggle?
You mean within the brand?
Well, just in general, like, battling like the internet, like, is Fangoria found a way to kind of be a little bit more just in tune with what's like going on the internet, not competing with the internet. That's what I mean. Like, whereas before, like the magazine and print would just get destroyed. Yeah. Now, is there a little bit more of an appetite for like vinyl came back, right? Like, is there?
Yeah. I think part of the trick was that we had to change from being a source of information, which is what Fango was back in the day. When you and I would go and buy it, that's where we were getting our horror news. Yeah. And obviously that doesn't work anymore. Yeah. But so how can we, so we have to change what kind of information we're bringing, and we have to make it exclusive, and we have to make it special. So to me, part of that was exploiting people's nostalgia for the logo and hitting up celebrities to like write for the magazine. So like getting Patton Oswalt to write an article is exciting to me. And he's not going to do that for People magazine. He grew up reading Fango. So
Yeah.
so I'm able to exploit his affection for that brand.
Yeah.
Which I do shamelessly. Like I got
Why
Danny Boyle to interview the director of Saint Maud, just sort of mixing it up that way, making it voices you might not normally hear from talking about their horror films and engaging in the content, and then keeping it exclusive to print. We don't reprint our print stuff online.
Oh, okay.
Which breaks my heart sometimes when we sell out of an issue, because there's some really great stuff in there that I legally have sworn to not digitally give to people, but that's part of the deal. Okay. Maybe we can reprint. I don't know if my bosses are listening, but maybe we can reprint some issues. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a bit. One of the cool things about this, and I mean, it sounds such a simplistic comment, but I got to say it. I mean, Fangoria, that name is awesome. I've always loved it. It's such a cool, it's not like horror mag or you know what I mean? It's kind of a unique name. If it were to come out today, there's no way that name would have been chosen, right? And it just I've always loved the uniqueness of Fangoria. You say Fangoria, there's only one thing you're thinking of. And
sure, but there's a Spanish there's this Spanish dance pop group that's been around for 30 years called, they took our name.
Are you serious?
Oh, I swear to God, they're very popular. When I look up the Fangoria hashtag, there's a good bit of tweets in the mix that are about this band, but it's fine.
Like
let
Fandango, kind of like, is that a play off of that, or like that's
Fandango was the name of a dance and a song and all this other stuff, but you were just saying, until that Spanish pop group showed up, there was only one Fangoria.
That's hilarious.
But the name, and I'm guessing a little bit, but this is like sort of an educated archaeological guess, is that when that legal action thing happened, when Fantastica got threatened, they needed something that was going to fit on that, across that logo and be the same thing. And I'm guessing someone floated Phantasmagoria. And that's too many.
Yeah.
So you cut it down a little bit and you got Fangoria.
Yeah, well, sometimes those stories don't really have romantic origins, right? But anyways, the end result
cooler.
Is there. Yeah, exactly.
Born from necessity.
So, like a lot of the pages of Fangoria, with a lot of deaths publicized and produced, you have had, the magazine has had a lot of, there's like an editor-in-chief graveyard to this magazine, isn't there? Like, there's a lot of there's been a lot of changeover over the last, I'd say, 10-15 years. Is that normal for a magazine?
I don't know. I actually would wager that Fango has hung on to its editors longer than most.
Oh, okay.
With a hiccup in there, which again, I wasn't there. I can tell you what I know. But so Bob Martin or Dave Everett, I think, was maybe the first official editor-in-chief, and he kind of handed the duties over to Bob Martin in the 80s. And then Bob brought up Tony Timpone, who edited it for a very long time.
Yeah.
If I'm forgetting anybody, I hope I'm not. But I know Chris Alexander took it over after Tony moved on. But Tony was there for, I want to say, maybe almost 20 years. I don't know for sure, but I think he was there for a very long time. And Chris ran it for a good long while. And when he left, that's when they were starting to run into trouble with their previous publisher. And I know Gingold was on board officially as editor-in-chief. Mike Gingold, for only 2 issues was he officially the editor-in-chief, but he'd been the managing editor for, again, 20 years maybe. And then as I understand it, a gentleman named Ken Hanley took it over for the last couple issues. Those are the ones that kind of never saw the light of day, or were digital only. And that was 2016. And then it's been me for 4 years.
Awesome. And, you here to stay?
No. I think, I'm having
you heard
a
it
time.
Here.
I couldn't say no to this job when it was offered to me, of course, at being a kid who grew up reading Fango. But I'm excited to sort of get it into a good space and then hand it off to the next generation at some point. I don't know when that would be, but I don't think very, very old men should be editing Fangoria. And I'm almost on the cusp.
Come on.
But yeah.
All right.
I do think that the folks before me kind of moved on. I don't know. So Tony started when he was like 22, by the way.
22.
Yeah. So when he left, he was probably still in his 40s.
That's crazy.
So
I wonder if
yeah,
that would happen in this day and age. 22.
it's
That's
crazy, right?
yeah. That's young. Oh my god.
He's doing set visits for The Fly in 1986 when he was 22 years old.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, so there was controversy with Fangoria a couple of years ago. I really don't need to talk about it. I'm sure you don't really need to talk about it, but is it getting resolved? Is it all done?
We're in the hands of new owners. I think it's we're in a better spot than we've ever been. And yeah, we're cooking.
Moving on?
You know, I mean, like I literally did not miss an issue
Yeah.
during all of that changeover.
Yeah.
The 4 times a year thing helped because we had a little time in
Yeah.
the group, but I'm very proud of the fact that we didn't miss an issue.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm curious now because, you know, again, everybody knows the magazine. Not many people know about the makings of a magazine. Right now, how many staff do you have?
There's not much of a staff. There's an art director. There's like an operations person who keeps us on schedule and everything. And there's me and an Angel who runs our website. But almost every other role, including my managing editor and the printer and all that stuff, this is all contractors and freelancers. It's all sort of sourced on an as needed basis. So it's not a very big staff at all, but there is a reliable pool of contributors that I hit up probably every issue because I know I can count on them. I love giving shots to new folks. I love bringing in new people, but when you take a risk on a new person and they don't deliver, it's really deflating. And sometimes as closer I get to deadline, I just need people I can count on.
Yeah. Is this kind of like the model for like magazines, publications now like this?
I have no idea.
It's what you do, right? Who cares what everybody else does?
I don't know. I mean, when we in 2018, it was basically me, Meredith Borders, and Jessica Safa-Vamir, and we were like, here's what we think is supposed to happen. And Meredith had some experience producing the print magazine for Birth, Movies, Death. So she provided some structure and some framework that we sort of adopted and then modified, to see how it would work. But I mean, we're just doing our own thing in our own bubble. I'm happy to learn from others, but you know, they're not running to volunteer the information.
It's working for you, right? I mean,
yeah. And
everything's remote right now.
Yeah, I mean, our publishers are in Atlanta. My art director's in Austin. I'm outside of Philadelphia. The web editor is in Los Angeles. Yeah, we are super scattered. But we all, like, a lot of us got to hang out in Fantastic Fest in Austin last week, which was
that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's neat. All right, so I want you to kind of think a little bit about this one. What's been your like a favorite story for being involved with this magazine? What's one thing that you that stands out for you as a feel-good story? Or
I mean, a story as an article, or
no, just more or less your experience. Like, was it meeting someone, doing an event, or like bringing something back, or cutting something out? What's been your takeaway so far?
God, there's so many, but I mentioned Bob Martin, the editor from the 80s, in 2018 or 2019, maybe. Yeah, 2019, when we first brought the website back, I was able to reconnect with Bob Martin, who was in Las Vegas at the time. And and I got him to write again for Fangoria. Like bringing Bob Martin back into the fold was a huge deal for me. Nice. Like, if you remember the classic Day of the Dead cover where it's Tom Savini and a zombie, Bob is the zombie. So like that picture was from when he did a set visit and they made him up as a zombie in his article. Yeah. And I paid homage to him in issue 2 with Joe Bob on the cover. I'm one of the zombies that's menacing Joe Bob on the cover. That's awesome. But that's my shout out to Bob Martin. But yeah, he was such an influence and an inspiration, and it was cool to have him back in the magazine. He passed away last year, I have to say, which is a bummer. But that was cool. But God, there's so, I don't know if I can give you one story. I can ramble until you tell me to stop telling you stories, but
it's okay. Go for it.
The going to Monroeville to cover the Dawn of the Dead convention that happened inside the mall for the first time ever. And it was the first such gathering after George had passed away. So it was really kind of a bittersweet thing. Yeah. But I went there for 3 days and I got to write about that. And that meant a lot to me because Romero is one of my bigger heroes in terms of filmmaking.
That's cool. That was very
cool.
Yeah.
And the stock answer I throw out is that I get a text from Barbara Crampton every birthday. So that's
okay. There you go. Okay. That's we could just
That's hard to beat.
Yeah, no, we're gonna end on that one because we'll end that question because I'm hearing you on that one. All right. So what's your take? What's your honest take on the state of horror right now?
I think it's an exciting time to be part of horror because across the spectrum of budgets and experience and even platforms where you can watch horror, we have more than we've ever had. Like more than the 80s VHS boom, which they're now in their third documentary about. But like from Oscar winners, from Guillermo del Toro and Peele winning Oscars for genre movies, right? All the way down to like Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp producing like an independent horror movie and emailing me about it. Like there's so much going on because there's so many places to see horror, and horror has been so legitimized in the last couple of years thanks to some of the more mainstream high profile hits. But at the same time also the fans like you and me who had been going to conventions for 20 years maybe, like our generation is now parents to burgeoning horror fans, and it just keeps going. And it's kind of amazing as a guy who I remember when horror was like something kind of shameful and something like people thought you were weird for like to see it legitimized like this now, it's cool. I see people that are bitter about it, like, oh, horror wasn't like that when I was a kid. Horror was gross and nasty. I'm like, well, horror's still gross and nasty. You can go find something on Shudder where that will push the envelope. Like absolutely. Horror is not like, you know, patty cake necessarily. Although there is a patty cake variety, which I wrote about a couple of weeks ago. Like Tim Burton has democratized horror and Disneyfied it and made it mainstream in a way. Like in the, you know, in the 80s, we had our slashers and these movies that Paramount were embarrassed to release. And then suddenly you had Beetlejuice, and then suddenly you had Edward Scissorhands, and suddenly horror was slowly creeping toward acceptability. And now we got Hocus Pocus sections in the Spirit Halloween store.
That's right.
What are you going to do? No, I think it's an amazing time for horror. And on top of that, the curation and the technology that's giving us the old titles in qualities that we never dreamed we would have them. Do you know what I mean? Well like the work happening from Arrow and Scream and Severin, like they are doing the Lord's work, like keeping those older titles in the air.
That's awesome. Well said. All right, so we're almost done, but I want to talk a little bit about so I've just got a few. I mean, I didn't dig too much, but like I got this is my favorite film of all time, right? So I got the thing now granted I ordered this one, so I wasn't
that's a nice shape. I was gonna say that you didn't have that since 82.
No, I didn't, but this one is in pretty good shape. I have this is one of my favorite ones, just because it's got a feature on Jason, who's always been my guy. Pretty decent shape. And just another one just because we got Jason, so we'll have Michael, Leatherface, and Freddy. This was 89, so this was a great year because Halloween, Nightmare, and Friday all had movies out, and Texas was in January of 90, and that pisses me off. They almost all came out one year. It drives me nuts. A little bit OCD that way. And I have also this one here, Fangoria 100.
Yeah.
So this one was a cool story because I was looking for it. There was a build-up before this one came out, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And then my brother's girlfriend at the time worked at a store where they had it, so I was able to get it. And this was a big deal when it first came out. Interviews with a lot of cool people. But I also I just want to show my first Gore Zone magazine. So this was
there. It is.
So this is the very first one I was able to find, and my mother bought it for me. So, I mean, if you look at this cover and you think about my dear, sweet mother,
that's love. That's love.
It's love. Exactly. So I still have some of the posters that came in the Gore Zone magazine. Whoa,
is that Linnea Quigley?
It sure is.
Look at that. And that's all like torn up from hanging to the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, I covered my bedroom walls with those fold outs, like the Day of the Dead zombie on the lab table with the guts.
Man. Yeah, no, for sure. There's Linnea again.
Lovely.
I've always loved, and this is a cool one. I'm proud of having this one. Toxic
Horror.
Their first episode with Freddy.
Was that a one shot though?
I think there's 6 episodes for Toxic. I have that one in episode 4 here. I think I had a couple of other ones, but again, I'm big on the big 4 here.
I don't think I've ever seen that Leatherface one.
No?
That's amazing. Look at that.
Yeah, and actually this one's in probably better shape, but
I
yeah.
don't think we published that though.
Toxic?
Yeah, I don't think that's one of the. I mean, you could see on the masthead whether it was Starlog Publishing or not.
I believe it was. I believe you guys did Toxic.
Huh. Let's
I
uncover this
believe
mystery.
so. I don't know. We could figure that out, but I'm pretty sure you guys did Toxic. But if you didn't, anyways, it's still a cool magazine. But do you have a favorite issue of note?
The big one for me, and I know I'm going to get the number wrong, but it's the one that's got a very similar image of Leatherface on the cover. I think it's 57.
Okay, I know which one you're talking about.
It might be 57. It might be 56. But yeah, and I just love that it. So we got yelled at in 2019 for our Midsummer cover because we leaned into the colors of Midsummer, and it's like green and yellow and pink, and somebody's like, Fangoria needs to be black and red. What are you doing? And I always held up that one. It's one of the first ones that I bought with my own money was that Leatherface cover because it was purple and pink and orange. It had no red in it at all.
Yeah.
But it was so 80s and it was so garish.
Yeah.
And that color combo just still speaks to me today.
So that being said, the library of Fangoria, is that accessible? Or is it
library?
Like, I mean,
like back issues?
Back issues, yeah.
I think so. Something that we're doing on the site that is really cool is that every week we drop a digital PDF of one of the original runs. Okay. We started with issue 1, and I think we're up to issue 33.
Did you do issue 9?
Yeah.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, we went in order, and so you can go to the site and you can go to like. God, I don't know. I think it's called Archive on the top banner, and you can pick any issue from 1 to 33. Next week it'll be up to 34, and you can page through.
Really,
and it's so fun because magazines ripen in such a weird way that like the articles are the articles, but the ads suddenly turn into like really interesting curiosities.
Yeah, like, for sure. No, it's true.
Yeah, it's a good time. And last week we put up issue 32. Which has an article, no lie, written by Martin Scorsese, talking about how much he loves David Cronenberg. It's amazing.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's good stuff, man. All right. So last question is just moving forward. Is there any kind of direction for the magazine, or are you just kind of feeling it out as you go along?
Yeah. Yes to both. It's like I said, it's a work in progress, and it would be boring if we were just reliably printing the same type of stuff every issue. I like mixing it up. I like pushing the envelope into weird places and covering things that you haven't heard of, or covering things that you've heard of but from an angle you've never heard of, right?
Yeah.
Those are my 2 goals. And so it's never a sitting still kind of thing. It's always hunting and trying to come up with new angles on stuff. And we've hit that pretty hard sometimes, and sometimes it's a little less explosive, but always the goal is to give you something you haven't seen anywhere before that you can't find anywhere else.
Phil Nobile Jr. Am I saying your last name right?
Perfect.
Awesome. So let's do that again. Let's Phil Nobile Jr., editor-in-chief of Fangoria magazine. Thank you so much for taking time to be on the Horror/Show. I really, really appreciate talking to you. This was awesome.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So that was really, really cool insight into Fangoria. Lots of cool stuff to look forward to. And I love to see that they're honoring their past. That's what it's all about. Now we're going to bring on some more Fangoria people. How cool is that? So we have Angel Melanson and Sean Abley joining us from Fangoria magazine. How you doing?
Good.
Great.
All right.
How
So
are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. So let's start off, ladies first. Angel, why don't you tell us what you do at Fangoria?
I generally just run around and freak out over all the cool shit that I get to do,
Wow.
mainly.
Rough
No, I
life.
run I run the website, so please visit fangoria.com and make sure you're reading the articles there, aside from the wonderful stuff that's in the magazine. But yeah, I get
Awesome.
to basically run the website, which means sometimes I write stuff for the website, but usually what like my main day to day is working with wonderful writers like Sean.
What a throw. I don't even have to do anything. Sean,
Well,
what's your role with Fango?
what I do, I have been writing for Fango in some form or another since 2009, on and off. Right now, I'm both in the magazine occasionally, and I have a column on the website called Problematic Films in defense of insert name of film here, uh, where there's all these great films that we love that maybe were made 20 years ago that maybe don't necessarily stand up to strict scrutiny anymore,
Yeah.
but we still love them. So I find people that have standing to like defend I Spit on Your Grave and have a conversation with them.
Cool. That's pretty
Yeah.
neat. Very, very. That could go off the rails too. I imagine too sometimes.
You know,
Yeah, it's all good. It's all
yeah,
good. All right, so we'll start off with you, Sean. So you've been there for a long time, but within that time, there's been a lot of change with Fangoria. How has it changed from the day you started to now, and the good, the bad, in between?
Interesting. That's an interesting question. I've been reading it since issue number 1.
Wow.
So way back, and I'm gonna get this date wrong. It's either 78 or 79.
79.
I hate the fact that I
Fine.
don't know that. Thank you. I'm a freelancer. And it's interesting. Each regime has had sort of a different take on it. I remember, like in the first era, before I was writing for it, like there was like uproar if like Star Wars appeared in the magazine, because the purists were. And then, so what I've done the Tony Timpone era, the Chris Alexander era, and now Phil Nobile era. And honestly, the change is mostly just, God, I don't know. We always cover the big stuff. We always cover the super indie stuff. That's usually where I'm at, if I'm in the magazine. I don't know. It's a good question. I feel like, oh, I know where. The covers.
Okay.
Each editor in chief has their own sort of eye toward what makes a good cover, and so the covers change.
And do you get to choose what you want to contribute, or is it allocated to you?
I pitch stuff typically.
Okay.
Although I was asked to do the Don Mancini interview in the current issue that's coming out. Usually I come to them with like, hey, can I write about this insert really weird movie? And then Phil's like, and then I'm like, no, here's why I should. And then typically I'm victorious like 1 in 5 times.
That's not bad. So that's 20%. Not bad.
Yeah. And then with the website,
it's like my high school.
Right. And then with the website, because it's my column, quote unquote, I'm not really like pitching for approval, although I run stuff obviously by my editor and like we were just talking about, like the title of the column. Like I thought maybe it needed a tweak. Apparently did not need that tweak. Am I correct?
We can discuss that, but I like it.
I too. I came up with it.
Yeah.
So as a freelancer, there's only a handful of people that are technically on staff. So the rest of us are typically coming to the magazine with like ideas of stuff that we want to write. And then for the more current things that are coming out, Phil and Angel will, hand things out as appropriate.
All right. So Angel, you handle the website. That's pretty big these days. I mean, yeah, it's it's what we go to. What does that entail? What's your day-to-day process for editing the Fangoria website?
Ideally, I have like the stuff for the day is primarily edited and scheduled in advance, and then like as stuff comes in.
Mhm.
Never necessarily ahead of it, you know. Ideally I would like to be ahead of it.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet, but we'll get there eventually. I feel like it's gonna, maybe I'll have 1 or 2 days where I feel like that. But there's always like cool stuff happening, so I'm like, okay, like, and then I feel like that, like the cat on the keyboard of just like like trying to
Yeah.
get stuff out. Yeah. But
For
I mean,
sure.
we're not a news site, but I still try to cover, like, if something is cool, obviously we want to cover it
Yeah.
in a relatively timely manner. But it's just me and then a bunch of freelancers, you know, luckily. So I'm really lucky because a lot of times the writers will pitch me stuff that they know is coming up.
Okay.
So that's usually taken care of in advance because I don't even have to think about like looking at a calendar and think like, okay, this is coming up, I need someone to cover this.
Yeah.
Usually we have a really good relationship where they just like pitch me like a couple of months in advance and I'm like, yes, I need that covered. Thank you for like sending that my way. Yeah.
Sweet. Sweet. And you host a show.
I do. I host the Convo Fango. That's actually how I started. So I was just freelancing, hosting Convo Fango, where I get to chat with amazing filmmakers. That like literally just it blows my mind anytime
Yeah.
I get to do one of these, and I'm just like, this is wild, you know. So I started doing that, and then now I've moved on to doing that and the website as a full time.
That's cool. Awesome. Sean, talk about Gay of the Dead.
Happy to. I wore my Pride Fangoria t-shirt on.
You know what? I've seen those. Those are out and about, and I'm Canadian, so I got to be careful when I say about because I get ripped apart.
I was just gonna ask you, are you Canadian?
I am Canadian, so out.
They're also out and about.
Out and about, yeah. I've been
Butte and a butte.
Yes, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad at all.
It's not that bad. Oot and a boot, no. But fine, I'll take the ribbing. No, I'm saying I've seen those magazines, those shirts out around a lot, and that's always good, right?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I got the Gay of the Dead blog, which was the first thing I wrote for Fango back in 2009. And my other life back then was I was a reality TV show producer.
Oh, wow.
And I was on the set of this really terrible model competition show that wasn't America's Next Top Model. So it was like Dark Basement America. It was like America's Next Best Model.
Okay.
And we were shooting in a zoo, and I was over in the corner with the model who'd been bitten by a monkey, being consoled by the model who got crapped on by a parrot. And it was just the worst day. And my phone rang, and it was, do you want to write a gay blog for Fangoria? And I was like, yes. The light lifting me out of it. And I did that for several years, through a couple iterations of the website. And it was really, I don't want to say it was the first gay horror blog because that would have been Camp Blood, but it certainly was probably the one that had the highest profile at the time. And I don't want to credit myself with that. I lucked into the gig, but it was really great because I got to sort of shine a light on an aspect of the horror fandom that I personally sort of felt like I was like a side dish, to the whole thing. Like I was invited to the party, but I wasn't one of the cool kids at the party. Okay. And now I got to invite my own people to the party, and it's just gone on from there. And now we're at the point where Fangoria is putting out a Pride t-shirt.
Yeah, we knew.
I've said this before, but this to me is as opposed to me asking to be part of Fangoria and then being like, sure, on a contingency basis. This is Fangoria saying, can we be part of your community? Mm-hmm. For horror fans, honestly, I know that this is fandom, and I know people look at horror fans like we're, like weirdos and we're at the conventions dressing up and things, but this actually matters.
Yeah.
To people, to that community that was sort of your lifeline for a lot of people to now have this connection to, the magazine of record.
Yeah. Nicely put.
So,
so Angel, tell me about some of the perks for working for Fangoria, because people that are watching this interview are jealous of you right now. And I mean, there's people that grow up loving Fangoria. We know this. And what are some of the perks for working with Fangoria?
So you want me to rub it in? You said they're jealous of you and they're watching.
Absolutely.
This is 100%.
100%. Make us squirm. Make us jealous. This is your time.
I'm the worst person to ask that. I'm very humble about it.
Okay, well,
okay.
pretend to
But
be
okay.
not.
Okay. Well, I mean, the perks are insane. Like I was talking about just even starting with the Convo Fango, like
Hmm.
I would watch these movies and like love this movie and then get to go and talk to the filmmaker about it. Like to me, like my brain is perpetually like the 12-year-old version of me is always just like flipping out over all this really cool stuff that I get to do, and I'm super grateful for it.
That's
I just got back from Fantastic Fest. I'm still recovering from that as far as just like I'm just like wiped out and exhausted, but like it just because every day was like the most heightened level of excitement you can possibly have. Like a kid that's
Wow.
going to Disneyland for the first time, but extended for like 2 weeks. So like I was just like like the whole time, you know. But I mean, I got to interview Malcolm McDowell. Like what? Like I've dressed as him so many times for Halloween, you know, dressed
Yeah.
as Alex DeLarge, and then I'm sitting across from him interviewing him. So it's
Yeah.
just crazy things like that, and just really like all of these like amazing people that I get to meet that I think are just so creative and wonderful. And that's filmmakers, writers like Sean, you know, people like you, Jason, just like all these people across the board. Like it's a really cool community, and I get to like be immersed in that. And it's like
Yeah.
you're saying, Sean, where it's like for a long time it kind of feels like, yeah, it's this thing that I really love. I don't necessarily feel that I'm like deeply embedded in it, more kind of like on the outskirts. I'm a fan, I like it, but I'm kind of watching it from the sidelines. And this very much feels like, no, you're like fully invited to the party. Like you get to be sitting at like the main table at the party, and that's just a really cool feeling.
That's awesome. So, Sean, you've been with the magazine for a while. How has it benefited your life?
Oh my gosh. Well, like what Angel just said, the people that I get to meet and talk to that, are made to like available for me to talk to. Also, way back before when I was like a teenager reading this magazine, Clive Barker came out. You might have heard that Clive Barker is gay. And
Wait, what?
yeah, I know.
Breaking news.
Yeah, and the editor at the time, Tony Tampone, wrote this editorial that was basically like, it doesn't matter if Clive Barker's gay. He's an amazing, artist in the horror field. And my head exploded at the time, and I wrote a letter to Fangoria, like, hey, I'm one of those gay fans, and I put my address. And I was like, please print my address so I can correspond. And I got letters from across the country from gay horror fans that had like nobody to talk to, and we had this like mail. Like this was back when you had to send a piece of mail, to connect us, and we corresponded for years and years and years. And I met some of them later at conventions, things like that. So honestly, for me, I love writing for Fangoria. I love just the content. I don't know. I just, when I hold one of those with my name in it, it's really special to me. But quite frankly, the best part of it is the community that is around it, right? Like the horror's come a long way. And, and that corresponds, of course, with it being big business, but it also has become a little bit more socially acceptable, and I don't know, just a way to like connect with people. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it's the people, much like Soylent Green. It's the people that are, yeah.
It's the people.
I mean, you both sound so like, down to earth with like, like I think like, I thought you were going to say, well, the perks are I get to, collect severed heads for free or something like that.
I was doing that before.
Okay.
Right.
I'm sure Sean was as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was just assumed. I'm sorry. I was
Yeah, you start that at like what, the age of 8 if you're a late bloomer, and then
exactly. No, well, for free, but now you get them for free. But anyways, no, that's fine. So listen, Fangoria was pretty much out for the count not too long ago. It didn't look very good for the magazine, but now it seems to have completely turned around. I mean, obviously there's a lot of hard work that goes into that, and there's going to be a lot of hard work to maintain that. This is a question for both of you. Where do you see it going from here? Like, where would you like to take it from here?
Sean, do you have an answer for that?
Well, because as being a freelancer, I'm like, wherever it goes, I'm like hooking my train, hooking my little boxcar up to it. But sure, Fangoria has, like every magazine has had its ups and downs, but it's actually survived. And I think that's because of the love of the brand, of the people that keep rescuing it, right?
Yeah.
And right now it's a prestige magazine. Like, you hold it, it's like a catalog. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a thing you throw away. So for me, I just hope it keeps being like the thing you want to put on your coffee table. Like, I want it to continue to involve, like, Angel and I think we're fans first, and now we work for Fangoria, and I want it to continue to be that sort of pipeline.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt with Phil at the helm that will continue to be the case.
Angel?
I think what you just said about like we're fans first, I really, really think that energy just exudes from like everybody on the team, like from like every single person that's on staff, and then also every freelancer. I feel like very much comes at it like, well, the reason we do this is because we grew up loving this for like, you know, an entire lifetime and like misfits and ostracized for it. And then you find this community and it's celebrated. So I think that's really amazing. Personally, I would love for the website to get even bigger. Like I love the magazine, to hold that in my hands. Like you said, that's like, it's like a sacred text to me, you know, like that's something that I would sneak as a child. And now I get to like work for it. And then this new issue that just came out, like my name is in that. And that's like wild to me. And it's like this beautiful piece of art. Like Jason, our creative director, did an amazing job of just really making this look like it looks like a piece of art.
Yeah.
So the fact that that's what it feels like, I love that. I hope that continues. I think it will. But really, like, just making the website even bigger and getting to do more and more cool things with that. And I have some things on the horizon that I think people will enjoy, but I'm looking forward to getting to realize and bring more to that as well.
That's awesome. I mean, you guys are making a living, or I mean, I don't want to assume that, but you guys are doing what you want and you're being creative, and that in the platform, at the platform that you want, that's got to be really, really cool. But that being said, we're going to do a little bit of trivia. You guys ready for this?
Oh boy, I'm terrible at this. I'm terrible.
Good.
Oh, no.
Good.
Take a sip of water first.
Good.
Chug it. Let's chug it, Sean.
You guys
Cheers.
have been. You guys are okay. Let's do it. It sounds like it's going to be a pressure-packed trivia here.
I'm actually in Palm Springs right now, and it's really dry here. So I'm.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's where I'm from.
No way, really?
We're just getting
my
to know each
hometown.
other now.
I'm technically in Cathedral City. Don't stop me.
I went to Cathedral City High School.
Sean, this is Angel. Angel, this is Sean. Nice.
Nice to meet you.
All right, guys. So you've been so nice, and I'm kind of hoping, like, you know, the teeth and claws come out now, and you guys, one of you wants to win more than the other. You got 5 questions each. Okay. The other person can steal. You get 2 points for stealing. You get 1 point for getting your question right. Are you ready?
Okay.
Now, they're not crazy hard. I didn't want it to be crazy hard. But again, I don't know what you love and what you don't. So they could
I was
be
like,
hard.
don't say it's not crazy hard, because then it's like maybe you think it's easy, and I'm like, oh, these are really hard for me.
Right.
I understand. So
It's relative.
It's relative. Yes.
Is this like the beginning of Scream, where if we get the question wrong, Ghostface comes in and does this?
Or Ghostbuster, I zap you, like, but no.
Right.
Okay. No shame in losing this one. This is just for fun. Okay. So Angel, we're gonna start with you first. Are you ready?
Oh, okay, let's go.
Who directed the 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead? Hang on, you'll get a chance to steal.
Can I confirm the initials before I say? Will you give me like as a clue?
I think if you hit the initials, you probably know who it is, so I'll allow it.
Is it a TS?
It is. It is. Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Tom Savini.
Okay. I think it's Tom Sawyer or something like that. All right, Tom Savini.
Tom Sawyer.
Although rumored George Romero had a firm hand.
Okay. You really want to win this, don't you, Sean?
I don't.
Yeah. You want me to? Okay. Are you ready, Sean?
Yeah.
Okay. What major city does the original Friday the 13th take place in? I say major because obviously, you know, it takes place in a camp, which has a small little.
It's Camp Crystal Lake, but that's not the city.
No. So the actual place where they shot it, and technically where it takes place.
Oh, is it? Oh God. Is it in New Jersey?
Wow. Yes, it is. Look at
Okay,
you
I'm
two.
narrowing it down.
All right. No, that's it. That's it. New Jersey.
That's it?
We're accepting
that's
New
it?
Jersey. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not gonna get no. Yeah, I know. Okay.
I was
so
like, holy shit, that's hard. I was like, I know like New Jersey, and that's all I could give you.
I was
but-
gonna. Yeah, I know. Like I was gonna. Yeah, I'll settle for state because even though it said city, but I didn't think you were gonna. Do you know it? Maybe if you know it.
Well, I should know it because
Wow.
I've read so much about that movie, and when you say it, I'm going to be like, I'm an idiot. So,
Well, I
let's
mean,
get to-
Blairstown is the actual place where, Blairstown is where the neighboring the town
cafe
was.
and everything is.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm giving you Jersey. That was good.
City of Jersey. Okay.
All right, Angel. So he tied you up. Okay.
okay.
What was the final death count in the 1996 Scream film? Was it 8 dead, 12 dead, or 15 dead?
In the original Scream?
Yeah.
You said 8, 12, or 15?
I did.
Okay, 8.
Look at you, 2 for 2.
Oh, I was counting.
Oh, yeah. You were going through it.
Does
Yeah.
that include like the boyfriend on the patio? And
oh man, now you're putting me on the spot. Yes.
okay.
Or no.
It'd
I'd have
have
to
to-
think.
okay.
Yeah, no, it would.
Boyfriend?
So it's Casey. It's
Boyfriend.
boyfriend, Rose McGowan, the two Billy and Stu, the two murderers. Is the camera guy die in that one?
Yes.
By the
Yes.
truck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Henry Winkler.
Henry Winkler.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, no. Does Kennedy die in it? No.
Mm-mm, not the first one.
No.
Oh my God. Here's the thing. I know the people watching this that are screaming at the screen.
I
right
know.
Yeah.
I know.
No.
Well, you're the one who wanted to run it down. That's our biggest
I'm
mistake.
sorry,
Now we're
I'm
gonna get
dumb,
so
I'm
much
sorry.
crap for not having that. All right.
See,
so-
I was gonna count them off by character, but I was like, I know it's not 12 or 15, so then it has to be 8.
Oh, okay, so there you go. Okay, so it is 8. I think we got 7. We missed 1. I think
We're
it
missing
is 8.
somebody. Okay.
All right, Sean, pressure's on. You ready? All right. What Jordan Peele film made more money domestically? Was it Us or Get Out?
Domestically.
Domestically.
It's gotta
Go with your gut. I feel like you knew it and you're second guessing it, but I think you're
I am
probably right.
I'm gonna say Us.
It was actually Get Out.
No.
Domestically.
Sorry, I thought that
on
I
the
was,
one.
I was strategizing. I was thinking because the first one was so popular that the second one.
Okay, so Us, this is by the Numbers website, made 175 million domestic, and Get Out 176. 1 million.
That's like the change I have in my couch. Like, come on.
I know.
I
but
gave
it's
you
still-
bad advice, but I
it was
knew
still
but
50.
like that was my thought process too, and I was
Yeah.
like, no, it's going to be Get Out because I'm thinking maybe because of the success of Get Out, other people
Right.
were more likely to go see us. I'm like, no, just go with Get Out.
All right.
It does say something about Us, though. It does say something about like the reviews and everything for Us that it didn't make more money.
Mhm.
I loved
So-
it.
So I'm
did too.
going to and actually I should have given Angel the chance to steal that, but
I was ready to steal.
would you have said Get Out?
I would have said Get Out.
Would you?
You
No,
said
that was
Get
my
Out.
honest answer though. Yeah.
All right,
That's
so-
why when I was like, go with your gut, I thought his initial instinct was probably Get Out. And I was just
Yeah,
like,
okay.
don't overthink it. Just say
Yeah,
it.
I know sometimes, right? Okay, so to make up for that, on your 50-50 question, Sean won't be able to steal. So, all right.
Okay.
So here we go. So right now it's 2-1 after 2 questions. This is for Angel. Name all the subtitles of the Nightmare on Elm Street films.
Oh God. Okay.
So it's basically parts 2 to 6.
I'm gonna get this wrong, and I know people are gonna be screaming at me so angrily. Sean, you're gonna steal this easily.
Oh, I don't know.
Dream Warriors,
Okay.
Dream Child, New Nightmare,
No, that's part 7. So we won't.
Oh, we're not going that high.
No,
Okay.
so from because it was called Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So
Yeah.
we're gonna go from parts 2 to part 6. So you can keep going.
Okay.
So you got 2 so far.
Dream Child. I'm not gonna get this. Sean, how many do you have in your mind right now?
I think I have them all.
You have them all?
Are
Okay,
you-
steal it. I'm gonna be thinking for a bit.
Okay.
Okay, Sean.
So there's the original, then there's Freddy's Revenge, part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Dream Warriors, part 3. Dream Child, part 4.
No, but yes. You
Oh,
got.
Dream Warriors. Dream Child.
You said Dream Child.
Freddy-
That was part 5.
Right. Freddy's Dead.
Mm-hmm. You're missing one.
Dream Master.
You got it.
Ah.
A valuable 2 points to propel him into the lead. That was
Damn.
good. Good job. Good job. You guys did all right. All right. Question number 3 for Sean. All right.
Okay.
Who wrote the 1973 book, The Exorcist?
William
19
Blatty.
Okay. I was going to say, not that he didn't write the 1973 book, the film, but anyways, you got it. All right.
Also, by the way,
Yeah.
was turned into a play in Los Angeles starring Brooke Shields.
When?
Oh.
Pre-coronial times. So it was like, I want to say 2017. It was supposed to go to Broadway. She was actually really great.
Wow. Did you
and
see it?
I did.
Holy wow.
It
Wow,
was
I've
More
not
never
recent
heard
than
that.
I was thinking. I was thinking you meant like, a
Mm-mm.
while back. This was like fairly recently. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It was supposed to go to Broadway
Dang.
at the Geffen in Los Angeles.
Oh, that's cool.
Interesting. All right, Angel, you ready for your multiple choice?
Let's embarrass me. Let's do
No.
it.
I'm rooting for you. What came out first in 1931? Dracula or Frankenstein?
Oh, Frankenstein. No! It's Dracula. Now I'm second guessing.
I'd like to offer Wolfman. Wolfman.
No, not definitely. Don't listen to him.
Ooh, gosh. Oh, I'll stick with Frankenstein, though I know. Okay, we'll just say Frankenstein.
It was Dracula.
It was Dracula. Okay.
Dracula was February and Frankenstein was December of 1931.
Hot
So
on
you-
the heels of the success of Dracula. All right.
Exactly. All right. So question number 4 for you, Sean. You ready?
Yeah.
What was the name of the hospital that Michael Myers escapes from?
Haddonfield Asylum.
Angel, you could steal.
Does it have Haddonfield in it?
I can't tell you that. No.
Oh,
Haddonfield Mental Institution.
So close. Do you have another guess, Sean? You don't get it, but this was a tough one.
yeah,
Okay. Smith's Grove Sanitarium. Smith's
oh
Grove.
my God. Oh.
They went with the alliteration.
All right. So now we're on to because this is your last question, Angel. You need to get this one right and then hope for a steal. Okay. No pressure.
Okay.
Who created Full Moon Entertainment?
Oh fuck.
Oh. there is pressure.
Sean
There is pressure on
is
you right
ready
now.
to fuck. Oh.
Take your time. Google it if you have not.
Just on my phone.
Just on your
under
phone
the
here.
desk. Oh. I know this, and I know this if you weren't asking me on camera right now, I know that I would know this.
You're gonna kick yourself.
I'm gonna punch myself in the face as soon as we're done with this. Sean, just take it. Just take it.
Charles Band.
Correct. That's another 2 points for a steal.
This is a massacre.
No, I can't.
All right, Sean, you ready for the last question?
Sure.
Who was not in a King Kong female lead? Was it A, Jessica Lange, B, Fay Wray, or C, Faye Dunaway?
Faye Dunaway.
That's correct. No hesitation.
Although that would have been amazing.
Yes, it would have. But Jessica Lange was pretty good in that film. But
You know, I am old enough to have seen that film on my birthday in the theaters.
You're kidding.
The original film. Yeah.
96. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
That's pretty epic.
Yeah.
So the winner of trivia.
Oh wait, make sure you add it up and tally them properly. Are you sure? Check that math.
Yours.
I don't want to hear
easy.
the score.
Yours
I
is
just
pretty
want to know.
easy to add up. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even have to use a stick for yours, but okay. So 7 to 2 for Sean.
Jesus.
I am stunned. I am so terrible at this.
You know what? It was fun though. You guys are great sports. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you guys coming on the show. I look forward to plenty more Sean Abley articles and write-ups in Fangoria magazine, and I look for this website to get bigger and bigger and bigger and cooler.
Yay.
And with you in charge, I can't see how that wouldn't happen. Thank you both so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great. Thanks.
All right.
Sean, thank you for that massacre.
You're welcome.
It was a gentlemanly massacre, though.
I didn't want to ruin my nails. I didn't want to get stuff.
I was gonna say he was handling it so well. Now he's starting to rub it in, but the longer we keep him on. Anyways, thanks, guys.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
guys.
And now, speaking of cool, we are about to bring on the one, the only, the sassiest of all sledgehammers. There she is.
There we go.
Good morning.
Hello, hello.
How are we doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
How you doing? I'm
How
doing.
you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm just I'm on a high. We've talked to some Fangoria people, so it's been a fun show.
Heck yeah.
And now we're gonna turn up the fun meter to 11. All right, Sassy.
All right.
How you been? Right? You know what? How was your birthday?
I know. I'm almost 30. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe, but time flies. Man, that 2 weeks went by so fast. I was like, oh my God, it is Tuesday.
I know, right? And you're like, crap, he's messaging me for work. I know. I'm sorry. 2 weeks is definitely not enough to celebrate your birthday. I'll work on that for next year. But did you do anything?
Okay.
Did you do anything special?
I did. Well, last week on my birthday, I went out to eat. And then Saturday night, we went to a haunt about an hour away. It was like a smaller, locally run haunt.
I love
that. And another one of my friends, his birthday is the 1st. So we kind of just celebrated it together. And then we went to Kings Island the following day, which is an amusement park in southwestern Ohio. Well, sort of western. I'm not exactly sure where it lies on the map, but it's near Cincinnati and Dayton. So, and they didn't have the haunt on Sunday night because it was the only night we were able to go. And so I was like, oh, and it's supposed to be really good, but it was still super spooky. They had all the decor, they had all kinds of treats. So it was still a blast.
Well,
it was still
cool.
a blast.
Okay, well, that's awesome. And while it hasn't seemed like a long time for you being away from the show, we've missed you significantly.
Oh,
and
thanks.
And there's been a whack load of like big news and exciting news. So I'm pumped to talk to you right now.
Awesome.
Even though my monotone voice would suggest otherwise, but I'm pumped.
I'm so excited about this moment.
I'm ready.
Believe me.
All right. I haven't spoken to you since the eye roll, another famous eye roll. So I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's go.
That's true. All right. Well, first piece of news. Obviously, I'm in an outfit because the new Scream trailer dropped this week. Did you have a chance to take a look at it?
I did. What
do you think?
A grumpy old man here. I liked it. I don't know how many more you have to see, but they're fun. So I'm on board. I liked it. Surprised?
Yeah. I anticipate that they're going to have a lot. I remember reading an interview recently, I think with Courtney Cox, or read somewhere that she said it's not like a reboot or remake, but it's kind of a refresh. And then you watch it and she's like, I have a gun, I'm Sydney Prescott. And you're like,
yeah.
Okay, where exactly is this? Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So who knows? It might be like a passing of the torch kind of thing. Who knows? So we'll see.
They've been hanging on to their core like in every movie. You keep expecting one.
Somebody's got to die. Somebody big's got to die. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm pumped. I thought it looked good.
Related to Scream, Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard, as well as just today, Nev Campbell were announced for Horror Hound in Cincinnati in March 2022.
Wow.
I'm definitely going to that. As soon as they said Matthew Lillard, I was like, I'm there. And then they added everybody else, and I was like, gonna have to get him on a Scream poster.
That's
so that's so exciting. I can't wait to see who else they add there.
Yeah.
Child's Play series debuted this week, technically tonight. Can't wait to check that out.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Jamie Clayton has been cast as Pinhead in Hulu's Hellraiser reboot. She's best known for starring as Nomi Marks in the Netflix original series Sense8, Sasha Booker in the third season of Designated Survivor, and Tess Vandenberg in Showtime's The L Word. I know some people are not too happy about that, but I was like, oh, that's so interesting, because the technically Pinhead is supposed to be effeminate in the book. You don't really know what. And then Kirsty Cotton becomes Pinhead later on. So Pinhead always kind of has that feminine flair. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to go.
So, okay. Yeah. And let's talk about that briefly, because that's getting a lot of hate, obviously. But you're a Hellraiser fan. So like, I mean, your perspective is definitely, it matters more than, someone else who's just on the fence and just hears that it's a girl being cast as Pinhead. So you like this decision?
I do. Given that, given the knowledge that I have of the book, and then Kirsty Cotton becoming Pinhead. Pinhead has his feminine turns, so it's not completely out of the blue or completely out of character for me. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they make the lead Cenobite a female. I know they had the female Cenobite played by Barbie Wilde, but to have the Pinhead character be female is going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. So
interesting. It's a good word. Yeah.
This is just a little bit of funny news, but Elvira got banned from TikTok.
I saw
Elvira.
that. I didn't know what I thought. I saw that and I was just like, is that fake? Is like, what did she do?
I think it was just the boobs and they just couldn't handle it. It's okay. They don't deserve her. They don't deserve her.
Wow. That's
Kylie Jenner announced that she's launching in a Nightmare on Elm Street collab, which came out today. So it's on sale now. I bought the whole package.
Really?
I missed the PR one because I was 30 minutes late. I was like, oh yeah, it's on sale now. But I happened to pay for the rest of them that come in together. So I have everything on the way. I can't wait to own that.
How much?
Well, it's $100 originally, but it was $10 off.
Oh, okay.
So shipping and handling and everything, but the PR one, which had it's in a VHS looking tape and it's got everything packaged together, that was $175. I would have still paid for it because that would have been cool to have.
Yeah.
And I know some people are like, Kylie Jenner, is she a horror fan? And I'm like, is she? I don't know. She might be. You never know who's a horror fan. Like,
that's true.
Every day I'm watching a documentary or something and someone will talk about how they like the horror, like a horror movie, and I'm like, oh wow, you do? That's so amazing. Yeah. You just never know.
No, it's true. And you don't know, but with her, it's because they tend to cash in wherever they can, and I think that's where that comes from. But you're right. I mean, she might be a huge fan.
She could be. I mean,
she could be a fan of this show,
Yeah, and
right. I mean,
one can hope.
One can hope.
Maybe
one retweet would help, but
for real.
That'd be
I don't know. But I mean, Vans just had their nightmare shoes that came out, and I feel like if it's another brand, people don't really look at it as much, but given that it's Kylie Jenner,
For
they're
sure.
kind of suspicious about it. So for me, I don't care. At first I was like, oh my God, because I like her. I'm actually wearing one of her lipsticks right now and it like never comes off. And that's
And
one
it
of the
looks
reasons that I like it
awesome.
so much.
It does.
I like her makeup because it actually stays on and it works well for me. So props to Kylie for teaming up with the best franchise.
You're welcome for the plug, Kylie Jenner, because we know you need
Kylie
it.
Jenner, we're here for your marketing. Now available in stores, Heinz Tomato Ketchup has rebranded itself as Heinz Tomato Blood. For the sake of clarity, this is the same ketchup you love, only with a spooky label for Halloween.
But see, that things like that mess with people's heads. Like it really does. Like I don't know if it's a cool idea. It's a cool idea. I like it. But I don't know if that works, because that kind of gets in your head. When you're eating, you eat with your eyes,
Still
right?
buy it. I'd be like, oh hell yeah, it's blood.
Yeah,
like if they did that, if they brought back like that squeeze, like I don't know if you had it in Canada, but we had the squeezy like way back when, and it was like purple and green. Like I loved it. Give me some black ketchup. Like I'm ready.
Yeah, they had that. It failed miserably. But you know what I was thinking about? Yeah,
everyone missed out.
Everybody missed out. I was thinking about it. You know how, like, that's what you tell all your kids, right? Like that's the big thing is like, don't worry, it's just ketchup. They're just using ketchup. Now you have the bottle, so you can really say to your kid, look, see, it's ketchup.
It's blood. Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Yeah. Also a note on Elvira is that she 2 weeks ago hosted the Shudder Halloween special, but now she's doing a month-long event with Netflix as part of their Netflix and Chills lineup. In addition, she's making an appearance on ABC's The Goldberg Halloween episode this month, titled The Hunt for the Great Albino Pumpkin, and it airs on October 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're getting a ton of Elvira.
Hey, holy yeah. She's taking over. She's taking over for our Adams family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't mind. I don't mind.
Neither do I.
The Netflix docuseries, The Movies That Made Us, aired season 3, is out now, and it covers Friday the 13th, Halloween, Aliens, and A Nightmare on Elm Street. And that was the first one I watched today, of course, was A Nightmare on Elm Street.
How awesome is this?
Yeah. So that's a lot of fun. Oh, it was fun. And there was some stuff in it that I didn't know, actually.
Whoa.
Just how they talked about certain things. It was interesting. I would recommend that anybody check it out. I mean, they had Sarah Risher in there, they had Heather, of course, they had Robert, they had Jim Doyle, who made the glove. I mean, they just had a bunch of stuff. So that was great. That was great.
Yeah, I'm pumped. For that series.
Another franchise is returning. So what is today? Technically today, but on Friday, the premiere of Amazon's new series, I Know What You Did Last Summer, based on Lois Duncan's novel in the 1990s slasher films. It's a modern take on the 97 film that honors the same chilling premise. So
I'm gonna
check that out. Definitely.
Modern take.
So that's this week, as well as Halloween Kills this week. Looking forward to that. There is a big Halloween couple of stores in near Dayton. One is called Foy's Halloween costume shop, and then there's also the Halloween store. I actually got my Halloween 3 pumpkin mask there.
Awesome.
2 years ago, and I'm hoping that they have the witch and the skeleton again. I don't know if they will, but they have just a giant Halloween store, giant costume shop. So I'm planning to do that Saturday in the morning, and then after that go and watch Halloween Kills. So I can't wait.
I love your life.
I know, it's great. Man,
I love your life. Wow.
Krispy Kreme has become Krispy Scream with new witch-themed donuts for Halloween, and you can kind of get them in a spell book. And they're like, order now. Look at all these participating Krispy Kremes, and one just opened not too far from me. And I clicked on it and was like, order now, and it's not popping up. I'm like, where can I get these witch boxes? I don't really eat that many donuts, but I will just pig out on donuts all day as long as they're spooky. I'm gonna have to go file a complaint.
Do it. Tweet them.
Yeah.
You know what? Tweet them. I bet you they'll reply.
Krispy Kreme, what the hell?
Yeah.
Explain this to me.
Exactly.
And then last but not least, I mean, there's been so much news, but I had to take the big stuff so it wouldn't go too long. The Second Circuit Court of Appeals has ruled in favor of the Friday the 13th writer, Victor Miller, in his lawsuit against the film's director and producer, Sean Cunningham.
Yes. So, and this one's near and dear to my heart, being the Friday fan that I am. And a lot of people were really happy about this because they thought it put an end to the Friday 13th saga. It does not. There is a whole bunch of red tape still around this franchise, and there is no movie. There is nothing coming anytime soon. But it was funny because I'm glad you brought this up, because I had Larry Zerner, who played Shelley in Friday the 13th Part 3, on my podcast, and he's become an entertainment lawyer. So we really chatted about this back earlier this year, and I point blank asked him, after he was kind of going, he was kind of just talking about the lawsuit in general terms. But basically what happens with Victor Miller winning the lawsuit is he owns the rights. Let's just say there's a lot more technical stuff, but he owns the rights. But what he owns is what he wrote. And what he wrote is Part 1 of Friday the 13th. That is a little boy in a lake. That is not a grown-ass man with a machete or a hockey mask. So Victor Miller winning the lawsuit is not necessarily what Friday the 13th fans want. And I asked him in this clip, and he really paused, because I said, is that the case? Would fans really regret Victor Miller winning this lawsuit, and for that reason? And he really paused, and then finally said no, but he meant yeah. I don't want to say that. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but the bottom line is, this is kind of icky. It's not ending anytime soon, which sucks, but it really got everybody's hopes up, and that's the problem. Like, everybody was like, Friday the 13th is free. It's not. Sucks.
Hey, at least it's not Nightmare on Elm Street. Nothing's really happened since 2010. So, I mean,
both of them, right?
that one is just kind of, but Friday the 13th has still had the video game that came out,
which is really cool.
And there have been some pretty big fan films, I would say, as well. I mean, A Nightmare on Elm Street isn't totally dead. I mean, yes, there's the collaboration with, shoes and stuff, but they've been doing that for a while, and other horror franchises get it too. And, but they've just, and I mean, there's Fredheads, of course, but that's still not a movie or a video game or something. And there are just all these slasher franchises getting reboots. I mean, first of all, I'm so excited. Somebody predicted somewhere, I remember, after pretty much the big part of 2020, that slashers would be making a comeback, and I was like, God, I hope so. When is that going to happen?
That was a poll question
for years.
That was one of our first.
And now here they are, and I'm living for it. Like, that's my favorite everything. I'll watch it
me too.
Forever. So I'm very excited about it. I just am hoping that with the collaboration with Kylie Jenner, which to me is huge, given her popularity, and Vans, even though there's other ones, I'm hoping this means that either the Craven estate or Warner Brothers is kind of gearing up for something. I know that the Craven estate was taking pitches, so hopefully something's coming out of that, and they might be warming it up a bit. I just want to say, out there, once again, anybody from Warner Brothers is catching wind of this, please don't forget me. Or please, all these people are getting the Chucky dolls. Have you seen that are showing up to their doorstep, and they're like, wow, a Chucky doll. Like, first of all, did you know? Did you know? You seem surprised. I feel like you had to give them their address, or they just have really good people working for them who just found key people and gave
which
them
is creepy.
The address. It is, but also, what the hell? I would have totally rocked one, but I would prefer Tiffany. Whatever, it's fine. But if they do something and they pull a big stunt like that, they had better be knocking on my front door, at least. That's all I'm saying. Is
that the dream for you? Honestly, and I'm being serious. Is that the dream for you, to be in a Nightmare on Elm Street film?
Yeah. That
Yeah.
would be a dream for me, whether it's TV show, something would be have an official part of it somehow, but then also get invited to the premiere of it. Even if I wasn't involved, this is like the second one. The first one would be it have a character or have some kind of role or something with A Nightmare on Elm Street. And the second part would be to be invited to the premiere of whatever the movie is or some big event around it. That would be the dream. And I feel like they'd be missing out if they didn't. Because
think,
like if they're looking for one person in particular, like hello.
I agree. I am not going to disagree with that. I would love that to happen. Let me ask you something. You may have thought of this before, but have you ever thought if you were a dream warrior, what your special talent would be?
I have, and I would like to probably manipulate / create fire. I mean, I feel like that would be a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I mean, Freddy's surrounded by, hot and fire and stuff, but you just keep lighting him on fire and you light things on fire. I don't know. Because I don't know what else it would possibly be.
So if that was the case, then your death scene would have you to be burned or boiled.
Oh, damn. That would be unpleasant. Maybe I should reconsider this.
But that would be fun for you. Didn't you say I thought you told me a while ago that, you'd love like that insane death scene.
I do. I want an insane death scene. But like if I was actually to die, that would be such a terrible way to go.
It would be.
Being eaten alive by zombies and being burned alive are just things that I am not okay with.
So then you got to reconsider your dream power.
I will. How about I touch things and I turn them into gold. Ta-da, I'm King Midas.
So he's a Goldfinger here now.
Because what am I going to do? Turn myself? Then I won't really feel it. It'll be all good. All good. Anyway.
You cheated. The Dream Warriors didn't know that they were going to get killed by their talents. So you can't cheat. You're fire. You're getting burned or boiled. I say boiled just because burn's been done.
Make it quick. All right, so let's talk about our poll results.
Yes.
So we had 3 polls. The first one was asking what the best Halloween candy is, and pretty much overwhelmingly, most people chose Reese's Cups / Reese's Pumpkins. So just nice. Reese's, anything that chocolate and peanut butter. People also named Snickers. Got some Sour Patch in there. And then for some reason, a lot of people happened to say candy corn. And I was like, who are you and why are you no? Why are you wrong? There's not candy corn. I mean, candy corn might be a true Halloween candy, but no.
They might be bugging you. They might be bugging you. Anyhow. Wow. I'm surprised. Yeah. Candy corn.
Now, this one is interesting. So we had John Carpenter or Wes Craven. Twitter chose John Carpenter at 55%. All those people who follow me, I'm so ashamed. But on Instagram, 54% of the people chose Wes. So.
All right. So what you can't hate people for picking John Carpenter. Okay. But can I just say something?
You shouldn't hate people for choosing John.
You shouldn't.
Carpenter
That's right.
Wes Craven, but whatever.
I got you. I hear you. Listen, if you want to get grumpy, I'm on the grumpy train. I'm in the locomotive pulling the.
Oh, I know.
So I'm get on board.
I'm getting on. I'm gonna hang out in the dining car and eat pie.
This is the first. This is the first time we've had a split, right? I think it's always been. Sometimes it's been close, but we've never had a Twitter and an Instagram party. Now, question for you: which of your fan bases is more active with you?
Would say maybe Instagram.
So they're more Nightmare probably biased.
Yeah.
Twitter,
I'd say a lot more because there's film Twitter, and I think there's a larger interactive horror community as a whole on Twitter. And there is definitely on Instagram, but everything can be so niche. And I think a lot of people follow me because I'm so a Nightmare on Elm Street centric. And yes, I can say that's a big thing on Twitter too, but I definitely think that there's a lot bigger and better chance of getting exposure to just a lot of horror fans and not so much concentration of a Nightmare on Elm Street people.
I follow you on both. I feel like Nightmare comes through more on Instagram from you. That's just from just an ordinary everyday guy following you. Do you want to know what I think on that question?
I guess.
Wow. Sounds like it. Okay, so here's the thing. John Carpenter directed my favorite horror film. John Carpenter directed my favorite horror film of all time, The Thing, and it's like my second favorite film of all time. And then there's Halloween, and then there's They Live. And which one am I forgetting that I like? Anyways, Wes Craven, Nightmare on Elm Street, not a bad franchise. It's okay. Or I thought you were gonna disconnect me there. Okay, no, Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, love them. Here's my thing. I truly believe while John Carpenter has a couple of my faves in there, Wes Craven is a more talented filmmaker. I find his films are more complete from top to bottom, a lot more of a polished look, a lot more creativity. And therefore, despite loving John Carpenter's couple of entries as a filmmaker, I definitely think Wes Craven is a superior filmmaker.
All right, so I'm glad we got your pick in there.
But you're still giving me at it. You're still giving me at
No,
it.
I'm getting out of it. I mean, I was in a deep hole and now I'm getting out of that hole. So now it's better. Okay. All right, and third and final one, the most classic Halloween costume choices were the witch, zombie, or ghost. Twitter, 59% of people said ghost. Instagram, it was pretty much a 50-50 toss up between ghost and witch.
Wow.
Zombie, no love. No
do you
love.
see? Okay, that's okay. So do you see many witches these days, though?
I think for little girls, if they want to be something spooky, they'll typically turn to being a witch. But like the big thing for Halloween costumes, and especially now, and just something easy, and that is in the original Halloween, is, you know, ghost. I mean, that's like a pretty standard, I think, go-to costume for people to be as a ghost. Yeah. I mean, it would have been kind of tough for me because witch also is mostly, I guess, female, and it's also pretty popular right now as people doing witch photo shoots.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that Instagram would have it kind of be 50-50.
Yeah.
But yeah, that it just seems like a ghost has been around for a long time. And I mean, like I said, witch has been too, but I don't know. I feel like ghost is a little bit more out there.
Yeah.
Witch.
And we're basically kind of basing our opinions on cartoons and things that we grew up with versus what's really out there on the streets now. But anyway, all right. Yeah. So not bad. So I've got stuff. I've got shit for today. But do you have anything?
Let's do it.
Do you have anything?
Well, I definitely want to know, since we are in this second week of October.
Your watch tells the weeks?
Well, I forgot what date it was.
Okay.
So I had to check. We're in the second week of October, and it's kind of like, okay, Halloween parties are underway. Is there anybody out there that has not yet found what they want to be for Halloween? I feel like it's super late, but there have to be some stragglers. And I want to know, are people straggling? Any stragglers out there? Anybody still not sure? Is your Halloween party next weekend or the weekend after and you still don't know? Are you in trouble? Are you panicking? I need to know.
All right. Okay. So we'll put that one out there. Definitely. I don't think everybody puts as much thought into it as us, but our followers probably do, right? So it's a good question. Good question.
I mean, I got my fake nails for my Halloween costume, my acrylic nails, and they just keep getting caught on everything.
I was gonna say, isn't it a little premature because you gotta?
No, I had one on Friday of last week. I had one on Friday, so it's the first time I wore the costume. But we haven't posted yet because we're trying to figure out when we want to post it, because I don't think all his friends know who we're being.
Got it.
Not all my friends know who we're being, so we kind of want to plan together when we want to do it. And then we have a Halloween party in a couple of weeks. That's the next one.
So you're being secretive about it.
Kind of, yeah. Except I've revealed it on here, so anybody who's seeing the show knows that I'm Morticia. So yeah.
All right.
That is my one question.
All right.
That I definitely wanted.
I got a few.
All right.
I came prepared. All right. This is topical because it's Halloween and Child's Play is out there. I want to know, what do you like better, Chucky or Sam?
Oh, okay.
This is a throw out
respectable
to the little people, or the little killers. I also again want to know. It's all about costumes. I want to know what mask people prefer, Jason's or Michael Myers?
Oh, good one.
Because
What about?
Sorry, no, go on.
We could talk about next week, because I feel like with one, it's easy to breathe in, and it's easy to exist around, and then the other one, it's harder, but it just feels maybe a little bit more masky, a little bit more classic.
More classic masky. Well, listen, they what invariably happens is, not invariably, inevitably it happens is basically people pick who they like better. Not like it's like F the mask. Like I like Michael, I like Jason. So, but I think it's a legit question, because I mean, nothing is to me is more classic than the hockey mask, but Michael Myers has got a cool mask, and so I'm curious. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this goes.
Yeah, and I do have one more that I want to throw your
right.
way, just because we had a Fangoria episode. I want to know how many people follow Fangoria on all their social medias. I want to know how.
Just like follow them, or just follow them on all their like social medias, like Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah, like I want to know how, like, because one of the things we were talking about is how Fangoria was dead and buried a few years ago, and now it's kind of made its way back. I want to know if horror fans are following them. Maybe we can, or is it like more of an interactive thing? Like, do you interact with them, or do you buy them? Or, I mean, not too many people buy print, but I want to give Fangoria some love on this poll, and I want to see how many people actively follow Fangoria on all their social media.
I think that's a great one, and I think that'll also be useful information for the Fangoria marketing team.
Exactly. So,
but yeah, no, it would be very interesting, because I know that Phil will often post about people like, I'm unsubscribing, I'm not doing this with Fangoria anymore because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Or like, I want to see something gory on the cover. I don't want to see a horror host like Joe Bob. And it's like, there's so many aspects to horror. You can't just focus on the movies alone.
Exactly.
I mean, Fangoria is just such a comprehensive brand, and they do a lot for the fans, and they are so interactive with everybody, being so iconic. It's great, because sometimes you'll get brands that won't really talk to fans, but Fangoria is fun, and I love what they do. So
I remember when I started out with the horror slash, or not started out, but with and I would post things or whatever, and I would tag, like, I was trying to get followers, and I was I would tag Bloody Disgusting, I would tag a few other, I'd tag Finger, and they would not always, they would repost, they would retweet, or they would like it or whatever, they not repost, but I was like, wow, they didn't have to, and but this is the almighty Fangoria, right? Like, like, so I always thought that was really, really cool of them. And it goes to kind of show that they're, they're trying, and yeah, it meant a lot. So, but so do you like this cover?
I do. I love it. I think I have that one in my little thing over there. I have a couple of different Fangoria Nightmare on Elm Street ones.
I used that one. I thought of you. I was like, I could hold up any other one in a title sequence or my promo video. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to. I
figured. I was like, Freddie and Nancy. Like, definitely. I saw it pop up in your promo, and I was like, shucks. That had to be for me.
There's a lot of love that I try to throw your way. You're kind of just, you're fallen into the hate Jason category, and I'm trying to get you out of it.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. We've got a long road ahead of us, but we'll get there.
I don't know what I did. Was it this?
No.
Did this set us back?
That brought us back toward the good area, but
okay.
It's just started with your name. I've got a natural rivalry with people who have your name. I might date people who have your name, but I mean, there's always that moment where I'm just kind of like, oh, what should I do? Maybe I'll just change your name, start calling you like Mitchell or something.
Mitch. Okay. Listen, if you're gonna change my name, can I at least have a say in it? I'll let you call me something different. But
all right, if you had to change your name, what would it be?
Oh, that's hard. That's a poll question. That's hard. You're putting me on the spot. Actually, you know what? I've always liked my brother's name, which is Rick. My favorite letter is R. It's a strong. Do you have a favorite letter? It's a strong letter. It's got a cool little, you could really do a lot with it in a signature. So I kind of, and it's like a short. So Rick, I like my brother's name, and it pains me to say that, but.
So his full name is Richard, right?
Yes.
So essentially your name would be Dick. And that would be fitting.
There you go. I'll let you have this one. So see,
I didn't think that through.
Yeah, well, you asked me what my favorite name or what. It's hard when you put on the spot, and of course, you find a way. You found a way.
It always finds a way. I think my favorite letter is probably Z because it's not too common, and I just like the sounds that it makes. And then it can also get pretty complicated in signatures. Sometimes people don't know what to do with it. Just like people don't know how to handle me. They don't know how to handle the letter Z.
They don't know.
And I mean, Z names are fun. Like Zoe is great, but I mean, if I had to change my name would probably be like Scarlet or something.
Yeah, I'd go with Blade.
Ooh, Blade.
I want to name my kid Blade.
That's pretty sweet. My sister has a friend. His name is Blaze. Oh, I think
Blaze.
That's a sweet name.
Blaze.
Blaze, get over here.
It's got a Z in it.
Heck yeah.
Z in Canada.
Zed?
We call it Z in Canada. XYZ.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah, and you may catch me from time to time if ever I kind of go with that, because I'll try to Americanize it for our massive fan base in the US, but every once in a while you'll catch me. Yeah, it's Zed. But anyways, we are way let's see, this is what happens when we don't talk for 2 weeks. We got so much to talk about, but
just need that little extra time.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for all your stories. Glad to have you back where you belong. And we'll get some polls out there and see what happens. Road to Halloween, baby. It's
Road
coming.
to Halloween. We're like halfway there, pretty
Couple
much.
more episodes.
Heck
Can't
yeah.
wait.
Me too.
Awesome.
All right.
So long, sister.
Tip my hat at you, bro. See you next week.
Take care, Blaze. No, what was it? Anyway. That's all the time we have for the Horror Slash. I'd like to thank Fangoria Magazine, Editor-in-Chief, Mr. Phil Nobile Jr., and of course, Angel Melanson and Sean Abley. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notifications tab. Thank you, Sassysledgehammer. Comments below, and we'll see you next week. Unless you die.